I'm Tom Hayes, Director of Customer and Community Relations with New Jersey Natural Gas Company, and today I'm your host for SCAN's Community Connections. It's a program where we highlight many of the organizations in the Monmouth and Ocean County area. Today we're very happy to have our guest, Mary Scott, who's the Executive Director of the Arc of Monmouth. So I welcome you here today.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
It's great. I appreciate your coming out and sharing information with us. I know you do wonderful work at the ARC. I think you've been there about, is it 26 years, I understand?
I've been here 26 years.
Wow.
Yes.
What were you, like 3 when you started?
That's very kind of you.
Yes, no, but I know you do great work. Certainly, you know, as the gas company, I know we're involved with programs that you do, and certainly you do wonderful stuff for folks. So I was wondering maybe you could share with our guests a little bit of information about the Arc of Monmouth.
Our mission is to work with people with intellectual and developmental disabilities and help improve their lives. And with people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, you're also helping the families, because often the family is a caregiver for a large part of the life of the individuals we work with.
Right, right, which I know a lot goes into that. And knowing and being around that arena at times, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, a lot of care. It's the special needs, and the families often really depend on organizations like yours to make sure that their relatives or friends, whoever it might be, are really being taken care of properly and really helped along the way, which is great and very admirable. What do you mean when you say persons with intellectual and developmental disabilities? Exactly.
Those are the terms we use. People know terms like Down syndrome, fetal alcohol syndrome, maybe Fragile X, autism. That's the group of people that we work with, and most of the people that we work with have some kind of learning disability or intellectual disability as part of the disability that they have.
Right, okay. And I guess there's varying degrees of all those disabilities, right? Some are a little
absolutely,
more... Okay.
Absolutely. We work with some people with very mild disabilities, going to people who have quite severe disabilities and really need a lot of assistance, you know, perhaps help with eating, perhaps the activities that they do really relate to sensory stimulation, but the majority of the people we work with are kind of in the middle.
Yeah, right.
And they need a moderate amount of assistance, and we're happy to be able to provide that.
Which is great. It's definitely a great service. So tell me, is there anything new at the Arc of Monmouth? Anything latent, you know, updates?
We provide a wide array of services at the Arc of Monmouth, and one of those is 24/7 service, residential services in group homes and in apartments. We have a new project that's going to be opening shortly that's very innovative. It's an apartment complex called Wayside Oaks in Tinton Falls, and it is an affordable housing apartment building for people 55 and older. But we've partnered with the builder, the developer, and we're going to have 16 units in that building for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Some of those people will live alone in the apartments, and the ones that are more independent, and some of those who need more assistance, we actually are able to link 4 apartments together. And so the staff will be able to readily work with each of those people, but they'll still have separate apartments of their own.
Wow.
And it's a new concept, and we're really excited by it, and we think it's going to work out wonderfully.
That's exceptional. That's really interesting. It's the first I've heard of, you know, I've been around, you know, and heard about units where maybe 4 individuals may share an apartment or a home or something like that. But now they have pretty much the independence of having their own, very own private kind of
but still
apartment.
Be able to get the help they need.
Yeah.
So we're excited by it.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great, and that's going to be in Tinton Falls.
It's going to be in Tinton Falls.
Very nice.
We're thinking pretty soon that program will be up and running.
Nice. Very good.
Yeah.
That's great.
We also recently worked on a project with funding from the New Jersey Council on Developmental Disabilities, we have a transition program, which means a program for students who have graduated or are soon to graduate from high school and move into adult life. And it's a change for families when that happens. It's a whole different service system for adults than when you're in school.
Right.
So we work with some of those students in a program called the Achievement Zone, and we got this grant, and they made a film over the last year that's now available on YouTube on employment and encouraging people with developmental disabilities to go into community employment. So that was a very exciting project.
wonderful.
They worked on it for about a year.
That sounds great. How exciting. That's going to be on YouTube?
It's up
on
there
it's
now.
on there now. Oh,
yeah.
wonderful. Okay.
They can look up the Arc of Monmouth and find it.
Good. Oh, that's great. I'll be doing that as soon as this is over. Now, why would a family choose the ARC services as opposed to, say, another organization out there?
We offer a very wide array of services, and I think we have the best of the traditional and the established and the new and creative in our agency. We're celebrating our 65th anniversary, and we have many different services. I mentioned residential, I mentioned the Achievement Zone, but we offer adult achievement centers, we offer employment services, we offer a whole bunch of services, healthcare, mental health care. We have new and innovative things going on all of the time. For example, over the last few years, we have a collaboration with Brookdale Community College, where we have people who are attending a college program, a 3-year college program where they get to have that college experience, sit in on classes, and really go through an experience that most people go through in their life.
Right.
So we're always trying new things in addition to having the tradition that's existed for a long time. And we also still have so much parent involvement, which keeps us in touch with what's needed.
Right, right. It really is wonderful, I have to say, being at some of your programs, your awards programs and things like that over the years, when you see your clients being appreciated for their work, and I just remember being at one where this young man was being honored for his services at a particular store, and he's so thrilled and so happy. It's like the perfect employee, the employee we all want to have, because they're just appreciative. They enjoy their work every day. They enjoy meeting people, they enjoy being around people. It's just really, really nice to see that these folks get an opportunity to really get out there and work like they really want to and can.
Yes.
They're very able in many cases, right? And really do a great job.
Employment is one of the things that we encourage people to try after they get out of school. And we have services through job coaches where we can help people find a job, and then they get support virtually for the rest of their lives in that job, where we have employment staff that go in and meet with them and meet with the employers on a regular basis. And we encourage as much integration in the community, including employment, as possible.
Which is great. I think that's really wonderful. Now, can you support families throughout the lifespan of their family member with a disability? Because I know, it's not like you graduated, you're 21 and now you're on your own. A lot of folks really need care really through their entire life. So you can support?
Absolutely. We can work with someone with developmental disabilities and their families throughout the lifespan. For children, we have education advocacy, we have Saturday respite available, we have a new program with funding from the Department of Children and Families where we can do intensive in-home therapeutic services. On to teenagers, and we have recreation programs that teenagers can participate in. We have the transition services for people coming out of high school, and we have a wide array of services for people who are adults. That includes our Work Opportunity Center, which is a vocational program. We have adult achievement centers where people can go and focus on not just employment and vocational, but other kinds of skills as well. Just a wide array of services, recreation services, preparation for Special Olympics, for people who want to go in that direction. Just a lot of services, and if people call us, we're happy to answer any question related to a family member with a disability or someone who they know, and try to be of assistance.
That's great. I mean, that's an amazing amount of programs. And again, for a lot of these families, they need maybe not all those programs, but several of them. And it's nice that they're out there and actually there to assist folks. The Saturday respite, for example, you mentioned, is that where you would give the family member a break, kind of, or?
Yes, any kind of respite is meant to be a break for the family or the primary caregiver. And we do have a program that runs on Saturdays, and people, and some of those people have quite severe disabilities that we serve in that program, and it gives an additional break for the family on a Saturday morning.
That's great. Now, if somebody wanted to reach out and actually take advantage of some of these programs, would you have, what's your contact information, maybe like your address and that sort of information?
Our address is 1158 Wayside Road in Tinton Falls, New Jersey, for anyone who, but we have programs all throughout the entire county.
Okay. And how about like phone number and
Our phone
website?
number is 732-493-1919, and our website is www.arcofmonmouth.org. And we encourage people to call us, ask us questions. If we're not right there, we'll get back to you within a day or two.
Which is great. That's good. And I'm sure there's many folks out there that are watching that if they don't have, they may have family members themselves, or they know of somebody that might be in a situation where there is that need. So, it's always great to get that information out. And I know working with the gas company, we work with you a lot through different programs, but the Work Opportunity Center is one that's near and dear to our hearts, because you do our mailings to our new customers and all that. And I want to tell you, and I'll tell the audience, that you do an absolutely exceptional job getting all that information together and getting it mailed out in a timely fashion and all that. And I think even for folks that don't need your services in one way, if they have a business and that sort of thing, they could use your services at the Work Opportunity Center and really get a really good product.
That would be great.
From their clients.
We appreciate, one of the great things about being in an organization like this is the support you get from the community, and your company is one that has been a wonderful support for us, and we appreciate the work that you give to our Work Opportunity Center. That is a vocational program where people do work that's contracted from local businesses, and it's a very important part of their lives. So having that work is really important to have that program run successfully.
Right, so they can do that for mailing packages and putting packages together. I think you do shredding also and that sort of thing too, right?
We do shredding. We did have some damage in Superstorm Sandy, so we're still in a recovery process from that. About 2/3 of the building is open. We're right now working on the rest of the building. When that gets open, we'll be working at full steam. And we had a cafe in that building at one time for the people who work there. We hope to get that back up and running again. And we've had a tremendous amount of support from the community to help us get back on our feet.
Which is great. Well, again, I really want to thank you for all you do for everyone in the community. I mean, it's a great organization. Obviously, you've been steering that ship for a long time and doing a fantastic job. You're really to be commended. And your group, your staff, wonderful folks to work with on a regular basis. And your clientele is bar none. So, again, thank you very much. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your spending time with us at Community Connections here at SCAN, and we wish you well in the future.
Thank you very much. I've been happy to come in and talk with you.
Great. And now we'll take a break, and we'll be back after this.
Make your home more energy efficient with the New Jersey Natural Gas Save Green project. Take advantage of rebates and incentives up to $15,000. Replace your inefficient HVAC system and upgrade to high-efficiency equipment. Reduce air and duct leaks and install proper insulation. Call Save Green at 877-455-NJNG or visit SaveGreenProject.com and learn how you may qualify for up to $15,000 in rebates and incentives. Call 877-455-NJNG.
Hello and welcome back to SCAN's Community Connections. I'm Tom Hayes, your host, and I'm happy to say that we have Anna Diaz White, who's the Executive Director of 180, with us today for this part of the program. So I welcome you, Anna, to the program and appreciate you taking the time to be with us. I know you have some amazing programs and wonderful programs, very important programs, and I appreciate the fact that you're spending time with us to share that with our viewers. Because again, it is important information. So with that, I was wondering if maybe you could just tell us a little bit about 180 and the programs that you have.
Sure. Well, a lot of people don't know that 180 exists here in Monmouth County to provide services for victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. And often we don't think about these issues because they're so either not related to something in our lives or they're really uncomfortable and unpleasant things to talk about.
Right.
But in fact, 1 in 4 women in the United States report that they've experienced domestic violence in their lifetime. And 1 in 6 women report that they've been sexually assaulted or raped in their lifetime.
Wow.
1 in 33 men report that they've been sexually assaulted or raped in their lifetime. So, you know, we often don't think of men being affected by sexual assault, but in fact, you know, young men, children, etc., boys, it happens to boys. You know, it's much more common and unfortunate than we'd like to think about.
Right.
And in terms of older people, you know, those I'm heading towards that age, but people 60 and up, 1 in 10 individuals 60 and up will experience some form of abuse, particularly as they get older, family members stealing money, withholding food or medications or other assistance. So again, the topics we deal with at 180 are really unpleasant, but definitely kind of call us to action.
Right.
And so we provide services from hotlines to shelter, to counseling, to court assistance for children that are exposed to family violence and abuse, and things of that nature.
It's really a shame that the need is so great that you even need to exist. But thank goodness you're there for the community because, as you mentioned, there's a whole gambit of issues out there, and you know, who knows why those problems persist. You know, I'm sure it varies from case to case, but the fact remains that there are those issues in there, and it's serious stuff. And a lot of times I know there are folks that are a little ashamed to come forward, or, you know, like for example, if a young man was assaulted in some way, he'd be the peer pressure of having to admit to something like that. It's tough. It's a lot of psychological issues that are attached to these problems.
Right.
But thank goodness that you're there, and I appreciate, again, your being here because folks need to know that you exist and need to know that there is help for those victims out there. And that's what folks are. They're victims, and they really do deserve to have a place where they can go and get the help and get assistance. So, you know, I kudos to 180 for being there and for helping so many that have to deal with such an unfortunate and sad situation, right? It's a desperate situation
It
for
really
many.
is. And here in Monmouth County, there's reports, police reports of domestic violence number in about 6,000 reports a year.
Wow.
So that kind of gives you an idea of, those are the folks that report to the police. But we know through FBI statistical data that less than a quarter of people report the abuse.
Right.
And in the case of sexual assault, less than 10% report a sexual assault or rape.
Wow.
So, you know, that kind of gives you a window into the numbers that are out there. And we see that, you know, in our hotlines, which receive thousands of calls from Monmouth County residents. In our shelter, we shelter over 100 families a year. Counseling programs, hundreds of folks come to us for counseling. And in our court programs, where we see nearly 2,000 people, men and women, through the family court. So there's a lot of work to be done out there, but there's also hope and a lot of help. And folks who are coming through with this going through this should really reach out to us through either our hotlines or even their local police departments or hospitals, who all have our contact information.
Which is great. And I also want to commend you on knowing, again, being involved in the community. I know how, you're out there all the time. And I think that's a big part of why I know Monmouth County has a kind of a high rate of incidents. But I do think a lot of that is because people know where to go. They feel more comfortable reporting it, even though it is a tough situation, because you're out there constantly letting people know that those programs exist and that there is help for folks, and that they should not go through this alone. They should not bury it deep inside them. They should really come out and really get the help that they need so they can go on with their lives and have a fruitful life and not feel guilty about these situations. All those issues that come rolling out of people when they're put in those drastic situations. So again, I commend you on that end too, because you are out there, as you are here with us today, making sure that folks know that those services exist, which is great. I know you had mentioned some of the programs that you have. So can you tell me a little bit more about them? Like, I know you have the second floor program and all those programs.
Well, Second Floor is the one program that we operate that is statewide, and that's a helpline for kids to call 24/7 about anything on their mind. And we get nearly 100,000 calls a year from young people throughout the state. On average, they're teenagers, 13 to 15, but kids as young as 5 or 6 and, in their 20s and 30s. And they call from things ranging from thinking about suicide, something as serious as that, to, dating concerns or concerns about their use of illegal substances or their friends' use of drugs or alcohol, really the range of things. And I'm happy to say that just in the last month or so, there were about 5 or 6 potential suicides by young people that were averted because they called us, we stayed on the line with them, and the police was able to intervene and prevent that from happening. So we urge anybody who has young people in their circle of influence to make sure that they know the number, because there's always help available, and of course suicide is never the answer to anything.
No, and in my experience with these types of programs, and yours in particular, these folks that need this kind of help, they make that call. Obviously they're reaching out for some help. And to have a compassionate person on the other end of that phone who really knows what they're talking about, really being there for them and being able to assist them, it's obviously is the difference between life and death. So again, even though you're out there all the time, we all need to do our part in making sure that everyone knows about a number like that. And we'll get to that contact information in a minute. But to let people know that these phone lines exist and that there is a place to go, and that people are trained for this, and they're going to respect what your issues are. They're going to appreciate what situation you're in, and everybody's situation is different, and people's feelings are different, and why they're there. There's all kinds of family factors, whatever it might be. So I know that your folks are trained excellently to really handle that, which is admirable and very much needed. Which is, it's not much better we can do than save somebody's life. So that's
as good as it gets.
That's
really
for
wonderful.
Sure. Now I know with Superstorm Sandy having come in last year and all that, there's been a lot of extra issues that have been out there for folks, right? Trying to struggle through that. So you also have been helping folks through that issue, right?
What we found, and actually research supports this, that after a natural disaster, and this is throughout the country and even throughout the world, very often incidents of domestic violence and sexual assault rise, sometimes as much as 50 to 75%.
Wow.
And you think, well, how does a natural disaster relate to domestic violence or sexual assault? And really, what the research supports is that because a community stress level is so much higher and a family stress level is so much higher, where they may have been vulnerable to abuse or violence before, now this really tips the scale. Or even a family that was healthy, and operating fairly healthy. But now there's no home or they're moving from place to place, or they're squeezed into, living with 2 or 3 other, another family, or, things have changed, or they've lost their job, or so many things compound their family structure that sometimes abuse or violence occurs where it never occurred before.
Right.
So we've seen that, and we're providing counseling and special services for families that are affected by Sandy who may also have domestic violence or sexual assault occurring as well.
Right, that's great, because as you said, I mean, it's nobody, it's nobody's fault that Sandy came barreling
Right.
through, and
Right.
it's very difficult. We know it's been hard for people to try to get back into their
There's
homes,
still
whether it's the
thousands of
funding.
families
yes,
and
it's-
individuals who are struggling. Even if they did get back into their home, things changed. There was a period of time that they were living in other places, or
Right.
bills, they got behind in bills because they were paying rent here and a mortgage there. So we know that people are still
and
struggling
the
with
emotional damage, even if they're like their home is refurbished,
Right.
all their belongings are gone, all their
Gone,
pictures
yeah.
might be gone.
Yeah.
There's a lot of emotional attachment to
Yeah.
all that is
You're
now
absolutely
gone.
right.
So it's been really difficult. Now, if anybody really needed help from you, let's go into some of that contact information. Do you have some contact numbers and all that you can share with us?
Yes, Tom, the best way for folks to reach out to us is through one of the helplines or hotlines, and I'm hoping that they're going to be put up on the screen. And these are 888-843-9262. These are toll-free numbers for domestic violence. For sexual assault, it's 888-264-RAPE, R-A-P-E. And for young people, the second floor youth helpline is 1-888-222-2228. And we also have a website, 180nj.org, and we can be reached through the website as well. People shouldn't hesitate to call these numbers. They're available 24/7, and they're going to find someone who really understands what they're going through and can help them through whatever issue they're going through.
Right. No, that's critical. It's very important. And again, now you have a couple of facilities, right? You also have housing for women who've been battered and that sort of thing. So you do have a gambit of programs
Right.
that you offer.
There's a wide variety of programs, and not everybody needs everything that we offer.
Right.
Someone may just need help getting a restraining order at the courthouse, and
Right.
we have staff there who will meet them. Someone may just need counseling to get through some of the aftermath of abuse or violence. Someone else may need, shelter temporarily, or a longer-term housing program like our transitional housing program, which is for a year and a half, to
Right.
help people get on their feet.
Which is
So-
great. What a blessing that is, right? So,
It really is.
A family can kind of help get themselves. They may have to get out of a really desperate situation,
You're right.
and thank goodness there's a place they can go that they can get shelter.
Right.
And a year and a half is it's not like they're just put in a unit for a year and a half. They're helped and assisted
They're really,
the
they're
year
really
and a half, so
assisted
that
with counseling.
they're
and-
ready to move out and
You bet.
be self-sustaining
You're
after
right.
that, right? And if
You're
they
right.
need some additional help, you can offer that,
Correct.
which is great and very important. And I think that most of the community out there that has a wonderful household and everything's running smoothly don't really realize all the need that is out there, and it is a blessing that folks can help and assist in that way.
Absolutely.
Which leads me to the next question: is if they want to provide donations or volunteer, whatever it might be, they can reach out to those through those same numbers.
Actually, they can go through the website,
website
which
would
is
be best.
www.180nj.org.
Okay.
And there's a contact us, I think, on the website. That's probably the best way to
Yep.
either donate your time or your resources or, items that, there's usually a wish list of things. We
that
pretty
folks
much
need.
always need diapers and wipes and, kinds of things that you usually need in a household.
Great. That's wonderful. Well, again, I want to thank you very much for being here with us today.
Thank you,
Again,
Tom.
appreciate all that 180 does for our community, and I appreciate your sharing the information with our folks out there in TV land. And again, Anna, congratulations on doing a great job. We look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you, Tom.
All right, thank you. Take care, and thank you.